Hi, today we'll be talking about establishing a business. We will be looking at the definition of an entrepreneur, the functions and characteristics of a typical entrepreneur, and of course, the role of an entrepreneur in decision-making process and economic development. And lastly, we will touch on reasons why individuals may want to establish a business. Let's start off with, who is an entrepreneur? So the word entrepreneur comes from the root word enterprise. An enterprise is another name for a profit-making business or a company, but it's mostly associated with entrepreneurial ventures. Therefore, we can assume, or we can come to the definition that an entrepreneur is someone who shows vision and, of course, creativity, taking the financial risk of starting and managing a new business. Entrepreneurship is showing enterprise skills of vision and creativity when taking the risk to set up a new business venture. Functions of an entrepreneur. There are 5 main functions of an entrepreneur, but not limited to. Organizing and risk taker could also be categorized as functions of an entrepreneur. Now we'll be looking at the functions of an entrepreneur. There are 5 main functions of an entrepreneur: conceptualizing, planning, accessing funds, operating, and evaluating the performance of a business. In some instances, risk taker can be categorized as a function of an entrepreneur as well as a characteristic. Let's look at the first one, conceptualizing. This is where the entrepreneur comes up with a new idea. So it may be a new product, service, or improvement to existing ones, or ways to fill a need rather than trying to find an existing business. This is where an entrepreneur, before they even become an entrepreneur, they start to form a concept or an idea of something that they simply want to accomplish. Then, planning. The entrepreneur should plan for the formation and operation of the business by stating their objectives, their target audience, goals, and ways of accomplishing them. By putting these plans out, you're able to have a set guideline on how your business will follow suit. Planning. The entrepreneur should plan for the formation and operation of the business by stating their objectives, targets, as in target audience or customers, and the goals and ways of accomplishing them. When an entrepreneur sets out their plans, they're able to follow them as a guide on how to establish their business successfully. Third, accessing funds. The entrepreneur will find ways to finance the business. They might have to use their savings, get loans from banks or other financial institutions, or obtain government grants. Some entrepreneurs may even get inheritance from their family or by borrowing money from their friends. Then we have operating and evaluating the performance of a business. These can be categorized as separate functions, however, in some cases they tend to go together. Operating and evaluating the performance of a business. The entrepreneur must ensure that the day-to-day activities are carried out effectively. He or she must assess how the business is performing and determine whether or not it is achieving its objectives. So, at the end of a financial period or at the end of a busy day, the entrepreneur can assess whether it has met its target goal as it relates to their profit versus their expenses. Therefore, this will allow the entrepreneur to assess what corrections need to be made in order for the business to thrive successfully. Then we have risk-bearing and organizing, which can also be categorized as functions of entrepreneur. Risk-bearing. The entrepreneur must accept the possible risk of success as well as accept the possible risk of failure. If profits are made, the entrepreneur is entitled to it. However, they will, of course, bear the loss if the business fails. Organizing. This is the ability of the entrepreneur to bring people together, materials and equipment in such a way that he gets the work done. Next, we'll be looking at characteristics of the typical entrepreneur. There are 7 characteristics of the typical entrepreneur: creative, innovative, risk-taker, flexible, goal-oriented, persistent, and persevering. Let's look at them individually. Creative. the ability to develop new ideas or new ways of doing things and satisfy needs. Innovative, developing a new idea or making changes to an existing one, such as changing the way a product is delivered. For example, I can imagine that the persons who first created standing fans probably didn't think about creating ceiling fans or wall fans at the time. However, as emerging entrepreneurs and as technology become more advanced, new entrepreneurs thought about creating wall fans and ceiling fans, which enabled persons to have more ground space within their buildings. Flexible and multi-skilled, the ability to react quickly to changes, being able to get on well with people, and to be good at handling money at the same time. Customer service is a crucial skill needed by all entrepreneurs, and of course, handling their money, ensuring that they're not spending more money than they're making. Goal-oriented, the entrepreneur has a high need for achievement and to accomplish a specific task or goal. Persistent and persevering, the entrepreneur is determined and not easily deterred from the target. He or she will make things work despite the risk. A risk taker, having a propensity to calculated risk, he or she likes challenges and they're confident that they can be successful. In a sense, entrepreneurs should be optimistic at all times. Other characteristics of entrepreneurs may include humility, honesty, being highly motivated, self-sacrificing, and sociable. That takes us to the next section, the role of an entrepreneur in decision-making process. There are 7 roles of the entrepreneur decision-making process: conceptualizing, planning, accessing financing, organizing the factors of production, operating the business, evaluating, and risk-bearing. And yes, conceptualizing has a place as it relates to decision-making. Role of the entrepreneur in economic development. There are 4. 1. Collaborating. 2. Providing goods and services to satisfy citizens. 3. Creating jobs. And 4. Contributing to nation building. Let's look at them individually. Providing goods and services. This will satisfy the needs of the customers, which is the sole purpose of any business. Creating jobs. Individuals can earn an income and improve their standard of living, and this is a result of an entrepreneur choosing to set up or establish a business. Therefore, other persons are able to get a job from the business that the entrepreneur would have set up. 3. Contributing to nation building. By exporting goods to customers internationally, businesses are able to earn foreign exchange that will be used to buy more capital goods needed for production. Capital goods, of course, are goods that will be used in production in order to facilitate more sales in the end. And 4, collaborating. This is building partnerships with communities by contributing towards community projects, and this will help members of the community to improve their well-being. A term that can be associated with collaborating is corporate social responsibility. This speaks to a company's commitment to carry out its business in an ethical way. Some examples of corporate social responsibility to its environment is by donating to nonprofits or providing grants for employees for volunteer hours. Why do people choose to establish a business? It could be because simply they want to make money. However, there are other reasons to that. There are 5 main reasons why an individual may choose to establish a business, such as desire for financial independence, self-fulfillment, self-actualization, increased income, and increased control of their working life. Everybody wants to be financially independent, not having to depend on anybody else but themselves, and entrepreneurs appreciate that. Self-fulfillment. As an entrepreneur, you must be highly self-motivated, and even though you're open to loss, you are also welcoming to the fact that you will be very successful, and that fulfills you because you're accomplishing something that you really want. Self-actualization. Being able to recognize that your purpose is to operate your own business and that you'll be successful allows you to feel as if you're doing something that you really cherish. Increased income. An entrepreneur's purpose is, of course, to make profits, and from profits, you're able to pay yourself or reward yourself for the hard work. Increased control of working life. An entrepreneur is simply their own boss. They decide what they want to do, when they want to do it, and how they want to do it. Thank you for watching. In the next video, we'll be looking at the essential steps needed for establishing a business. Stay tuned.